Pastor Anderson, I just got to let you know that I've really enjoyed this sermon series over the last several weeks, Call to Action, where we're taking a look at the stories, some stories of the Bible where God called his people like Jonah and Solomon and Ezekiel. And this weekend, we're finishing up that sermon series talking about the disciples of Jesus and how he calls them to follow him. And you know, we've been doing a lot of promoting with small groups, and I just have some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
First of all, I mean, churches have talked about small groups. I mean, each small group's different. So what is a small group at Trinity? What does it look like? What's the vision that we have?
Yeah, you know, small groups are really hard to define, but especially here at Trinity, because we've had so many different kinds of small groups in our history. But small groups that we're starting now are really less about Bible study and more about building relationships with one another, being able to gather together and encourage one another, to do fellowship with one another. That's the goal. Small groups are people doing life together here at Trinity.
Oh man, I love that. I mean, life together. And you know, when we talk about small groups, you say it's less about structure, maybe not doing really as much Bible study, just more fellowship. But what other criteria, constitutes as a small group? I mean, what things should we be doing when we meet together?
Right. You know, the goal of having it more about these relationships allows a lot of flexibility so groups can take on different forms. But we have three goals that every group we want to accomplish. One, they're going to meet together either 1 or 2 times a month. 2, they're going to encourage one another. And are you ready for the third one?
Lay it on me.
They're going to pray together.
Whoa!
Even if it's the Lord's Prayer, or if you're comfortable speaking an extemporaneous prayer, a prayer off your heart, that's what's going to define these groups. Meeting together, encouraging one another as we live the faith, and praying for and with one another.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So if I want to be a part of a small group, how do I go about doing that? You know, if somebody's interested, how do they get involved?
Yeah, you just sign up, you know, and as you sign up on that sheet, you can actually choose what kind of group that you want to be in. You might want to be a part of a group that's in a similar stage of life. You got a new baby. You want to talk with other people who have a new baby. Maybe you want to be a part of a multi-generation. You want to have somebody who's older and wiser that you could ask questions of, or somebody who's younger. Maybe you want to have an opportunity to be a spiritual grandparent to another member of our family here at Trinity. There's stages, there's multiple generations. Families can get together, couples can get together, and even individuals who want to do life together. You know, and when they sign up, you can sign up just to be a participant. You can show up and eat tacos together if you have a meal. Or you might be the host, where you're going to do the hospitality part of it. You're going to provide your home and maybe work together to make it an inviting place for that fellowship group to meet. Or you might want to be the facilitator, the one who's actually going to schedule when we're going to get together and make sure that everybody meets together and those 3 goals are accomplished. That when you meet, you encourage one another and you pray for one another.
And you can eat.
And you can eat. That's why I'm all about it.
So we're shooting to launch these small groups during Lent, and that's coming up here pretty quick. How long will these groups last?
Yeah, you know, even though we're launching them during Lent, again, since they're not about a Bible study, there's really not an end to the group. So when you go through the Red Letter Challenge, you are going to keep doing relationship with one another. Whether you find another book or whether you try something else, you're going to continue to meet together and pray together and encourage one another. So there's really not an end to this group. They might change groups and shape in different ways, but ultimately the goal is that we are always called to invest in relationship with one another in the family of God.
So it sounds like, you know, in addition to small groups, we could also call these life groups, where you're going through life together.
Absolutely.
You know, I just have one more question for you, and it's kind of a big one, especially on my plate. The time commitment.
Oh,
You see,
yeah.
you know, our family is stretched thin with doctor's appointments and errands and, you know, I know school. And so what would you say to people maybe who don't have a lot of time to invest in these small groups?
Well, you know, being senior pastor, I get 48 hours in every day as opposed to your no, time is amazing. Everybody gets the same amount and we all struggle. But here's the great thing about these small groups, Pastor. They are not huge time commitments. If you have a busy schedule, you might just check in with one another for 15 minutes. Gather together either digitally or on the phone or in person and say, hey, we're just going to encourage one another. How are things going in life? And then we're going to pray together. Or you might be able to have a little bit more time. You know, you need a family meal. And so this might be able to be a little bit longer of a time together. But really, that's the great opportunity of the small group. They get to describe or define what their group is going to do as they meet, encourage one another, and pray together. So the time commitment is really up to what you and your family, what your small group, as you do life together, what you determine is best.
Oh man, I love that. I mean, it sounds like you're going to be a part of a group of people that care and love and pray and will be there for you.
Absolutely.
Oh man, sign me up. I'm definitely excited. We should get more people. Hey, Pastor Gadball.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to be a part of our small group?
Yeah, Elizabeth and I would love to do that. Thank
You want to eat tacos too with us?
Oh man, absolutely.
What do you-
know?
Make sure you bring something to drink.
Okay.
Did somebody say something about tacos? Because whatever it is, Brett and I are definitely in.
Awesome.
Awesome. It looks like we got our small group. What about you? Do you have your small group formed yet?
Make sure you sign up today. Lent is coming very soon. We're going to be going through the Red Letter Challenge. We're going to be looking at the words of Jesus, living them out as he calls us into communion and fellowship with one another.
As Pastor said, those groups are being formed this coming weekend. So this is your last chance to sign up. Those groups will be formed next week, and we'll communicate the group listings to the congregation by February 7th. So sign up today. And above all, may God bless your week.
Have a great day in the Lord.